Here we are, New Jersey Women for Trump. We are live on Facebook. It's been a while. I am so glad to be here. And as you guys are jumping on live, the rest of you are probably on replay already. So if you are, tell us where you're watching from. Post your comments, your questions. We come back and look at those. But we're really excited tonight to have our most popular guest and one of my favorite interviews. Everyone's been saying, Elizabeth, where's Bill? Bill Spadea, welcome back to New Jersey Women for Trump.
Elizabeth, it is great to be back here. I love to hear the numbers of how incredibly strong this organization has become. I mean, people attack President Trump at every turn. He can't say anything or do anything right. And one of the first things they always go after him on is that he's not going to do well with women, that women don't like him. They think of him as a sexist pig. And the truth is, the only reason they attack President Trump for being anti-woman is because so many women actually do support him, because women, again, it's like everything. Women are not one-issue voters. Women are voters like men are voters. We vote on any number of issues. And when you see the right leader in the right spot, they don't have to be perfect. They're human.
Yeah. Well, listen, I wish we were here celebrating his win, right? And that's what we all thought, and that's what should have happened. And we do love him. We love him for all the right reasons. And I have to tell you, the membership is growing. This movement is not going away. And I've been to the marches in DC. I'm telling you, it's a phenomena. No one has seen it before. No matter what happens January 20th, we are not going away. So let's talk about the election. And I know you have your opinions on where we're at, and people in this community are holding on to, really at this point, divine intervention and a belief. But you weigh in on where you think things are.
Let me say a couple of things. First of all, what you just said, Elizabeth, is exactly right. That the tens of thousands of women who have joined Women for Trump, the hundreds of thousands of people across this country that are fed up, the millions, truthfully, that feel that there were so many shenanigans and were being talked to and talked down to by the media and the Democratic operatives, and quite honestly, many Republicans who just don't want to hear it because they want to move on. So the reality is this: there are tens of millions of us in this country who feel that the rug was literally pulled out from under us, expecting a win on election night. Hundreds of thousands of ballots in a few battleground states show up in the middle of the night after the election counters, the ballot counters were sent home. There were boards and placards put over the windows so you couldn't find it. You're finding now out all about Dominion and everything else. So that said, the battle now is to turn those tens of millions into a new Republican Party. People ask me all the time, you say so many things about that are contrary to Republicans. Where's this populist party? Where's the third party? And I say, look, first of all, I intend to annoy the establishment Republicans by remaining a Republican for as long as I'm around. That's number one. And the reason for that is this is a two-party system. It's a two-party state. It's a two-party country. That's the way it is. We have watched independent candidates. We've watched failed attempts for decades. Not going to happen. Republicans and Democrats. Donald Trump understood this. That's why he ran as a Republican. What Donald Trump accomplished, though, is cleaning out maybe a third of the swamp creatures. We now need to carry on Donald Trump's legacy for him. The legacy of Donald Trump is you can't trust most Republican elected officials. That's the legacy. Look at the U.S. Senate. So I said this on Newsmax earlier today, that it's now up to us to view and judge these Republican senators to see if they will have a backbone. Because I can tell you, if I'm a Republican sitting in the United States Senate and I'm watching all that's out there, from the ballot stuffing to the discovered votes that were not even folded or creased and only voted for Joe Biden, at the very least, I want an inquiry. I want an investigation. I want the FBI and the Justice Department involved. At the very least, I'm going to say, hold on, we're not certifying any elector votes until we can show the real results. Now, that said, this election, in my opinion, just having been doing this a long time, I think it's over. I think you're going to see Joe Biden inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States. Now, okay, let's say that. I know that sounds like really bad news, but I say that because we as a movement, the millions of people out there that feel cheated and frustrated and angry at how the government has trampled roughshod over our civil liberties, our economic liberties, our religious liberties. We're mad. We ought to be mad. But there's very little that we can do about it as a populist movement. Right now, with this condensed time frame, the Constitution, the electors, Congress, you got to let Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani and the rest of them do their job. If they fail, they fail. We can't, yelling about it isn't going to change the due process. So I hope and pray that they will make the traction and the progress that they should make. But I have to assume they won't, because I have to prepare as someone who has a voice in this and has a microphone and talks to, the literally now 1.5+ million people that tune in to New Jersey 101.5 with the message of what can we do? Well, I can't do anything because I'm not in the U.S. Senate. I'm not an attorney. I'm not in a lawsuit. What I can do is say, what's next? How do we deal with Joe Biden? How do we deal with potentially losing the Senate? And that is where we all come in.
Oh my God, no. So I understand that. I do. I understand this preparation for moving forward. And we're going to talk about that with Jersey, right? But I have to tell you, and I say this so honestly from this group and on behalf of these thousands of women, we haven't given up, and I don't believe it's fantasy. And I think you and I disagree on that. I think there's an aspect to this that you could easily use logic and tell me that I'm in a fantasy world, but I have to remain in spirit with this, because that's where we are.
Let me qualify my remarks, because actually we don't disagree. I don't think it's a fantasy at all. I'm just saying we don't control that. We are spectators.
Right.
As much as you watch a football game and you root for your team, unless you're on the field taking the snap and throwing the ball and catching it, all I can do is root for them and pray for them and push forward. So obviously the stakes are much higher here than a football game. But the analogy is that we can't control it. So here's how I look at it. When I hear, if my wife or anyone says to me, look, I've got good news and bad news, I always want the good news first, because the good news, typically, I don't have to do anything about. I can just enjoy the good news.
True.
It's the bad news that I have to act on and start fighting. And to me, even if Donald Trump remains as president and gets inaugurated for a second term, which I think legitimately should happen. But I look at the odds and say, okay, if that happens, look, we're still in a fight. And the same lessons apply. That we have a mission to take these tens of thousands in New Jersey, if not hundreds of thousands of people, and say, what are we going to do to move forward and take this state back? Because I'm sick and tired of losing my constitutional rights because of what I consider a scam of a test with this PCR test to scare everyone into thinking that the pandemic literally has never ended. And that's not true.
That's not true. No, we're going to get to that, because you had a great op-ed the other day about that. But yeah, so this is where we stand on this page. We believe that there's going to be intervention. We're holding on, not in a foolish way, but in a way that this movement needs a voice, and we need to do that because he's been there for us every step of the way, and that's what we feel. And we're never going to leave him in terms of that support. But like you said, the movement's not going away. Now, listen, him on a second term, we still have work to do. Right. So we want to transition to discussion about New Jersey, why we hold out and hold on to, what we say, hold the line for 45. That's what we say on this page.
I love that.
And it's absolutely the cry of our heart. And as I said to you, I've been in DC to all the rallies. You're not going to shut this movement down. No. Now switching to New Jersey, and we've got these pages of women who are absolutely dedicated. We want to bring that same effort, and we're bringing it to New Jersey. So first thing I get asked all the time when people find out you're on this page, Bill, and I know we do this, we hear you in the morning, but are you running or not for governor? Let's make sure we put it out there.
All right. Let me say this. I am not running for governor in 2021. Okay. And I say that for two reasons. Number one, I get it a lot too. And a lot of people ask, and there are a couple reasons. One is a practical reason. I really, truly believe that my role at the microphone, educating people every day, that's the first and best way to turn this state around. I think too many people think that there is a magic wand, that you could elect a governor and overnight turn the state around. The problem we have in New Jersey is that Chris Christie over 8 years decimated the Republican Party. True. And unfortunately, when that happened, we lost any hope of taking back the Assembly, the Senate. Yeah. We lost county after county. We lose school board after school board. So to me, the first step, because I'm a long-term and long-range planner. Yeah. I am digging in. I love New Jersey. I'm young enough that I believe that I'm old enough to have seen a lot of the mess. Yeah. And I'm young enough to say there's a good 10 years ahead of us that we can actually truly take this state back. So I'm not going to run for governor in 2021. because I don't believe it's the right time for me to leave the mic. I
Okay.
really would be very concerned. Boy, do I wish I had a fill-in host that was coming up in the ranks, that had the passion and the energy and, ready to go. Elizabeth, maybe it's you. Yes, but we're not there yet
No.
and the morning
Yeah.
show to me has just now come into its own. I mean, I've been on the
Yeah.
air for the last 5.5 years, and we're now hitting that stride where people are turning. I'll just give you a quick my analysis of it. So going back to March, I was advocating against the lockdown, advocating for
Right.
President Trump,
Right.
all of this. I was in the minority. Literally, it was 90-10 against me on my Facebook Lives in the morning, the calls, etc. Here we are in December. I can tell you that has flipped completely.
Absolutely.
90-10, because people are sick and tired. So I believe my mission is not complete yet.
Yeah,
But,
I agree. I agree. You have a purpose, you have a mission, and we need you. I remember during the medical freedom fight how you were there for us. It made a big difference that we knew every morning we had an advocate and people were hearing this, and it may not have heard about it otherwise. So I agree with you. This is purposeful for this time, but there will come a time when that may change for you. And I can tell you, you're going to get a lot of support. Let's talk about the field, because it's taking shape.
Yep.
And I know you talked about this in the morning, but I want you to weigh in and give some people insight from your point of view.
Well, so let me break it down for you. And I've said this both privately and publicly, is that I do get a lot of questions in the morning, callers, tweets, Facebook, etc., asking me, not only am I going to run, but asking me to run. I've had a lot of people that have asked that have money behind them, etc. And I say, okay, when I think of this field, my point to the field. So anybody on here that is either with Jack Ciattarelli or Doug Steinhardt or somebody else that you think may run in the future, you've got to ask them this question. They're not getting their point across or message out if people are still asking me to run, because if people should be asking me, who do you support among this field? The problem is no one is satisfied right now with the field. Now that could change. So I'll give you my analysis. I think Jack Ciattarelli, I've known Jack for many, many years. I think Jack is a sincere, nice guy. He's a good family man. He's overcome his own trials in his family, etc. The guy has a good story, and I think he's very articulate. He's got the look and the feel of someone who could be very successful. That said, he's made a colossal error not being a very aggressive champion for President Trump. And that to me is he's going by the Bill Palatucci, Chris Christie playbook that, hey, Republicans in New Jersey are really moderate, so you've got to be a little milquetoast for them because they can't stomach you otherwise. I think that is complete and utter garbage. The lines have now changed. It's not about Republican and Democrat. Donald Trump changed the Republican Party.
Yes.
I am a Trump Republican.
Right.
And I say that proudly. And that doesn't mean I agree with every tweet. That doesn't mean I agree with every aggressive, crazy thing that he said. What it means is the man is a leader. And he took a personal sacrifice and a heavy toll on him and his family to do right by this country. That defines a patriot. Now, so I think Jack has got a lot of ground to cover on that. On the other, because we can't elect Democrat light and think we're going to change the state.
That's right.
On the other side, Doug Steinhardt. Now, Doug has been very aggressive on social media. He's been an aggressive critic of Phil Murphy, and he's not been afraid to say positive things about the president. That said, again, the name ID on both of these gentlemen is very low. The ability to raise money has not really shown itself. We don't know what Doug is going to be able to raise, but I can tell you this is a $30 to $40 million race.
Wow.
And Jack Ciattarelli has just topped $1 million. So we're not in a good place right now. That's my cold, hard fact analysis of this. Doug is coming on my show tomorrow. He's going to be on the air with me tomorrow. And I told both men, you're welcome to come on anytime. Tell people why you're a better alternative.
Yeah, well, they should both do that. Yep.
Well, they should. And but I think, again, they both have a problem that we all see. They may see and even agree with us, but they have not yet shown the path that they're going to fix it. And this is the problem. The Republican Party leadership in New Jersey, from the Senate to the Assembly, is weak.
Agreed.
They've done nothing. I mean, today, and I don't mind naming names. I call these guys out on the show all the time. And full disclosure, I've been friends with a lot of these politicians.
I know you have.
Over years, so it's painful sometimes.
I know.
Kip Bateman is a friend of mine. Kip Bateman and I go way back. We've done charity events together. I think he's a great guy. he's been wrong on a lot of issues. And today he tweeted out he was so proud that a bill to preserve even more open space, like we need more wetlands and mosquito fields with weeds in this state.
No.
I don't understand it, because all they're doing is
Yeah.
crushing all the housing together.
Right.
And it's killing us on traffic
Right.
and infrastructure.
Agreed.
Anyway, he was all proud that he got this bill to the governor's desk. And I'm thinking, talk about tone deaf.
Yeah.
We've got 200,000 restaurant workers out
Yeah.
of work. We've
Yeah.
got tens of thousands of small businesses that may never open their doors again. This
Right.
is bad.
This
and
is
then on
bad.
the other side, Tony Bucco. God love Tony Bucco.
Yeah, God.
Again, I've known him for years.
Yeah.
And he put up a bill to say we're going to reserve 2 hours at motor vehicles. Like, the lines aren't long enough to block it out for healthcare workers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is the Republican Party? Meanwhile, I had a conversation with Jerry Scharfenberger, who he serves with Serena Damaso. By the way, if I can just say this to the group here, and Serena would probably be, she may even be annoyed that I'm going to say it. I think Serena Damaso should run this time. And I've said this before. I think Serena would be, she's got that Staten Island attitude that has morphed into a Jersey attitude.
Yeah.
She gets it. And she's an EMT. She understands the medical crisis that is not happening right now.
Right. That's not happening.
She's
Yeah.
smart, articulate, and tough.
Yeah.
We need tough. But back to the point, motor vehicles is a mess, and transportation's a mess. The COVID restrictions are literally killing our children, killing our businesses, killing our families. Jerry Scharfenberger put up a bill. Mike Testa put up a bill. Mike Doherty put up a bill, all to limit the governor's executive power. Jerry Scharfenberger, as of yesterday, had 4 co-sponsors.
It's not going to go anywhere, though.
How's that possible?
We're not getting anything done. And I think, the other thing we need to talk about, the elephant in the corner, is voting. Because as much as we want to change the state, I think a lot of us feel so disenfranchised. And you were talking about it on Newsmax today. And we have a task force we just launched in Morris County.
I love what you did with that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And that's my point, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You're thinking about it, but the legislators, where are they on this? It's very serious.
Well, I don't know. We need to pull them in, but I got to tell you that if we don't fix this, or at least give voters visibility. You remember how hard last time I had you on, we were arguing about Dropbox mail, all this stuff. It was so hard to get Republicans to return their ballots and all this. Yeah. Now, on top of it, 80% of the counties have Dominion in New Jersey. And Dominion doesn't necessarily operate the same way in every state, but it doesn't matter. It's bad. So voter confidence is in absolutely down, down, down. How are we even going to get them engaged? I've seen people on this page say, why bother? So we owe it to the voters in the state, and it should be a bipartisan issue, but it won't be, because if we don't do it, Bill, guess what happens next November without a doubt? It doesn't matter who's running against Murphy, because he'll be back in.
Well, I agree. And I think part of it is the old proverb, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Yeah. Sadly, too many New Jersey Republicans don't want to take the single step. They want to start at mile 999. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. We were fooled once. And as they say, fooled once, shame on you. Fooled twice, shame on me.
Shame on me. Exactly.
Right. And we got Chris Christie in there. And, it's no secret I'm not a big fan of his. He's not a big fan of mine. But the reason I think it's so contentious is that he expected, when he put in the gas tax, when he went for the borrowing of hundreds of millions of dollars for the State House renovation, when he wanted the ethics rules to be relaxed so he could write and profit off a book, he expected me, as someone who helped him in 2009, to fall in lockstep and think, hey, we're all friends. We're all in this together. I'm like, no, I love this state. This is not about me. This is about, I said to somebody today, they attacked me on Twitter because, as you can see, I'm in my home studio. Yeah. And that was a conscious decision on my part, because I told the corporate bosses, I'm not complying with this COVID nonsense. Right. It's ridiculous. Right. I'm not going to have some kid, report to the state because I have a mask under my nose, whatever. I'm like, my COVID rules are different in my home studio, so I'm going to do that thing.
Me too.
But I'm blessed with the ability to do that. There are millions of people who are not able to do it. So that's what drives me in the morning. That's what will drive my future endeavors. Yeah. It's about those people. And back to your question, how do we do it? We don't do it by electing a sort of good, okay, maybe he'll do, at least he's better than Murphy. If you're voting for a Republican just because he's better than Murphy, don't bother.
Don't bother. Yeah.
Vote for the right person.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to take some time. Let's be honest. Like you said, I think before we got on or whatever, it's like a 10-year, it's going to take time to turn this around. We can do it. And I want you to speak to this because one of the reasons we have so many people listening right now and so many people in this community is people have got involved in grassroots like they never have. And one thing that I hope all the Republican candidates understand is that a huge voter bloc has woken up and they are not going back to sleep. So these people want to do something with this enthusiasm. Trump showed us how to fight. They want to fight here. So, whoops, hold on, Bill. We're back. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is help people understand not only the importance of grassroots, because I think you epitomize that in a lot of ways. You've run for office. Tell people from your vantage point what they can do, how they can be effective.
So the first thing is there are no rules handed down by the elites that you need to follow. Let's start with that, right?
Amen. Yes.
Ignore them.
Great.
When I ran for Congress, now we're I'm aging myself. 2004.
Yeah.
My wife and I were living, and I'll share the story with everyone. We were living in Warren County, great Republican area, loved it, and we moved to Princeton because I wanted to run against Rush Holt. He was the incumbent congressman, and it actually happened because my wife said, you've been yelling at the television now for a good solid year, and you clearly can't stand anything this guy is doing. Why don't you just run against him?
Yeah.
And I said, yep, I think that's what we're going to do. And we moved. So here I am in the belly of the beast in Princeton, with it, as liberal as it is, fighting this fight. When I started to run, I was told by the Republican chairman at the time, Senator Joe Carrillos, and another Christie guy, very moderate.
Right.
Anyway, same story, same old story. To not be too aggressive, be careful because we want to have a vibrant primary. Now, here's the funny part. The guy running against me in the primary, his name was Bruce Afrin, and he was the year before, or 2 years before, the Green Party nominee for the Senate. So here's this left-wing guy joins the Republican Party to make a point, and I'm being told by the elders of the party, be nice, don't beat him up. So here's what I did. I started knocking on doors and campaigning aggressively to every county committee member. I went to every convention, won the primary, and then here I am in the general. I am working, and like everybody in New Jersey, right? You're trying to keep a roof over your head. You got to work hard. You got to balance it all. I don't have the resources to just be a full-time candidate in 2004. So I did the best I could by walking and knocking on doors every night after work and every weekend. And all told, we hit about 17,000 doors. I walked to all 44 towns in the district. We did a 200-mile walk that I took volunteers with, et cetera. Anyway, here's the bottom line. When I met with the National Republican Congressional Committee, they laughed at me. They said, this is the dumbest thing we've heard. We're not going to help you. No one's going to beat Rush Holt. You will get less than 25% of the vote. You should not quit your day job and go home. This is what the Republican Congressional Support Group told me. So feeling the love, I came back from that meeting, and my wife and I talked about it, and I said, I'm in this far. This was September. So I took a poll. We did a Labor Day poll. Sure enough, I was at like 21%. And I thought, well, maybe they get the big bucks for a reason. Yeah, right. I went to my then boss, Jim Weichert, who I love Jim Weichert. Jim Weichert runs one of the best companies in this country. I mean, he is just a solid leader, great entrepreneur. Right. And I took a leave of absence. I said, Jim, I want to do this right. So I took a leave, and I took the next 6 weeks. We walked to all 44 towns, and on election day, hit 40%. Now, amazing. I lost. Yeah. Bottom line, and the message to everyone here is, I had never run before. This was something, I'm a guy working in real estate. I've got a vision. I had served in the Marine Corps. I've lived my life. I've started businesses. I've done the different things. But I thought, why shouldn't my voice be in Washington? I'm going to run. I was not given permission by anyone. I was told by the powers that be, don't do it. And it made me stronger. And then from that, we've, kept going. It's taken a long time, but we're still fighting. But the bottom line is, everyone on here should look around and say, what could I do in my town? The Democrats have done this. I grew up in Camden County. Camden County was as red a county as you get in New Jersey. My dad was on the Republican committee. Cherry Hill, New Jersey is where I grew up. I was born in Camden, and it was all Republican. The Democrats were an afterthought. Now, find a Republican in Camden County. No, blue. So how did they do it? They didn't do it by running for governor.
Right.
They did it by running for school board. They
Yes.
did it by running for mayor,
Yes.
for council. You need to get together in those family gatherings, these super spreader events that I hope you're all having over the Christmas holiday, to enjoy family and
Yeah.
just fly in the face of this junk science they're throwing at us,
Please. Yeah.
and say, who's up for it?
Yeah.
And file. Do you know, I was talking to Pastor Phil Rizzo. I spoke, he's a good guy. He's got a good organization, Arise New Jersey. I spoke at Trump National a few weeks ago. We had a nice super spreader event there. It was wonderful. And you know, and but it proved a point, right? No one got sick, obviously, because this is all about PCR tests, and that's a whole other show, Elizabeth.
That's right.
But the bottom line is, he put that all call out and said, you know, we have this. He had a great line. He said, you know, we're not a top-down country. We're a bottom-up country.
Yes, we are.
So the message is, stay positive. I am digging in, and I have been digging in my entire life. I am smart enough to know that I can't wave a magic wand and run for statewide office and turn this state around in 4 years. It has to take time. Now, the capstone on this mission over the next 4 to 6 years is that at some point we will be able to elect a governor and then enact change. And my good example is Scott Walker in Wisconsin.
Yes,
Scott Walker came in 2010, and the voters were mad, and they swept in a whole change. Do you know they turned that state around economically from $3 billion deficit in their budget to a $900 million surplus in one budget cycle? New Jersey can be great, and I want to make it great. I'm not going anywhere. I know, Elizabeth, you're not going anywhere.
I'm not.
And this grassroots thing, I am open for any and all suggestions, and I'll tell everyone listening, if you're thinking about running for school board, if you want some input, advice, send me a direct message. Reach out to me. Call the show in the morning. I am here to help each and every one of you take that next step, because it's going to take an army and a movement to take this thing back.
Yeah, and everybody can do something. And you give such good examples. And, you know, it's what I did after the medical freedom movement. I ran for county committee. I'm on county committee. Now we're doing, listen, that's how it works. In fact, after we're done, we're doing a training, a Zoom on how to get people on county committee. This is the way it's done. It's going to take time, but your voice can be heard. So I think, you know, grassroots at this point, we'll just equate that to super spreaders. Because every time we get together to do anything, we're knocking on doors, we're having get-togethers, right?
Unless you're supporting Antifa, Black Lives Matter, or celebrating Joe Biden, then suddenly the mass gathering is not a super spreader event. I mean, it's crazy. But you know, Elizabeth, I want to congratulate you, because you hit the nail on the head. Running for county committee, people think they don't know what it is. They're not sure. Let me tell you, we have to take over this vehicle of the Republican Party for right-minded, critical thinkers who have reason behind them, logic behind them, and most importantly, patriotism over patronage. I don't want anything. I have built a successful media career. I don't want anything out of politics except to make sure that maybe I can talk my kids into moving back to New Jersey when they have their own kids. That's my mission.
Exactly.
What's yours? Let's take this vehicle back. Let's fight in every county committee. The never Trumpers, the people who think that, like Declan O'Scanlan, who actually wasn't sure whether or not we should force vaccines on children. Are you kidding me?
No.
They have no place in our Republican Party.
No.
We need to not allow the never Trumpers to purge people from the party who think differently. We need the different thinkers like all of us. And let me tell you, I believe this. There are more of us than there are of them.
I believe it too.
Let's start taking it back.
Yeah, and you said something last time we talked. You said, you know, New Jersey's not as progressive as the people we elect appear. And that makes me think, though, how long have these elections been rigged? In what way? We've got to be willing to dig into all of this. And, you know, we made an announcement today for Morris County. I hope every county will follow suit and say, we're going to commit ourselves to looking into this and make sure that that vote means something. Because, you know, I don't think the mail-in voting is going away. Murphy put it in place for himself. We know that. We're not stupid. So we've got to get involved. And I love that you are a big advocate of county committee, because it is from the bottom up. We're not waiting for some messiah to walk in and save us. We have to do the work. And, you know, we need to find good candidates too at all levels. And they come out of this kind of work.
And when they tell you no, you are on the right path.
That's so true.
Right?
Yes.
If you upset Declan O'Scanlan, John Bramnick, and Tom Kaine, you are doing something right.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So we are coming to half an hour, and I'm so sensitive. You've had a long day. We saw you on Newsmax today. You were on early this morning, as always. We so appreciate all of that. But just some last words to everybody. We didn't even get to Corona, but that the craziness and all of that, and Christy's ad about the mask. I mean, we'll have to do another show on all the Corona
stuff. I'll be happy to come back.
I would love to have you back. The audience loves to hear from you, and we need to continue to have hope in this state and not give up. And the people that are fleeing, I'm like, listen, I'm staying because my kids need a future and I got to fight. So just give everybody on this page a little bit of a shot in the arm as you leave us and tell us, what we can do to move this thing forward.
Okay, so here it is, everyone. We are actually on offense. Don't let the media let you think that we are on the losing end. Whether Donald Trump remains as the 45th president or has to concede to the incoming Joe Biden 46th president does not mean we as a movement, as a thinking people, have lost. This is a battle. We are in this for the war. The battle is ongoing. And I will tell you, the minute that the far left decided in San Francisco to remove Abraham Lincoln's name from a high school because he couldn't prove in their mind historically that he really believed Black Lives Matter.
Oh my God.
Wow. So praise the ignorance on the other side, because they have and will continue to overstep. Defund the police, tear down Abraham Lincoln. Enough is enough. And what's starting to happen is a new group of people is on the rise. And I hear from them every day. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not ready to leave the radio just yet. Because I get calls from Democrats every day, nurses, teachers, cops, truck drivers. They are not regular Republicans. You know why? They're not fancy suit wearing people that go to the cocktail party and sip champagne. No, they're real people. They work hard for a living. And you know what? They want a home. They are looking for your leadership. Don't throw away all the old Republican talking points. This is about our country. This is about our children. This is about our communities. And if you're thinking like that, you can't go wrong. We are not on the defensive. We are on offense.
I love it.
So, and we can win. It's
going
to take time. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I love it. Best advice ever. And I hope all the candidates are listening to this. And you've had so many amazing comments here. And somebody just said, #fix not flee New Jersey. And you know what?
I like that.
That's right. So much talk about people leaving. And you know what? We can't leave. We can't give up, because it's not only our state, but it's our country. And we need to show California how to take a state like ours and turn it around. So I'm in with you, Bill, for the long haul.
Great.
Thank you again for blessing this audience, for being here. You've got a lot of support from us, and continue to stand with us for 45, because no matter what, he's something special. And it's going to be amazing to see how he impacts this world going forward, however that looks.
He already has and will continue to, no matter how this thing shakes out in the next few weeks. And it's partly his legacy is something that we have to live up to and keep fighting for. And that legacy continues whether he's in office or he's out of office. But it's not by accident that literally tens of millions of people have been inspired to follow 45's leadership. It's because of what he stood for.
That's
what he continues to stand for. And we owe it to that legacy and to the future and to ourselves. Keep fighting. So know that I am fighting with you every step of the way. And I'm happy to take the hits, because that's what we do. Right?
Thank you, Bill. You're awesome. Everybody, thank you for being part of it. Bill, we'll talk to you soon. We appreciate it.
Take
All
care.
right. Bye.
Bye.